Hey, you're back. I'm Dan, and I want to tell a better story. Today, I want to share with you my 5 reasons why I tell stories. I normally wouldn't do this, but someone asked me why I tell stories, and I thought, well, I might as well give you 5 reasons for telling stories. Asking me why I tell stories is just like asking me why I like donuts and coffee. I just do. Well, the first reason here is some of you folks might have these kind of reasons too, especially if you're older like me. My reason is I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave a story for my kids and grandkids. That I want them to know who I was, not just selfishly, but for their benefit, so that someday they might think, I wonder if old Pops went through this situation, and maybe I'll have a catalog of videos and stories they can watch and maybe be encouraged. Oh, and that's the other thing. I record my stories. People have asked, why don't you just write a book? Well, here's the reason I'm not going to write a book. You see, I have ADHD. I found out about a year ago at 65. And along with that, I have this thing called dysgraphia, where my brain and my fingertips don't always line up. So I can't type. I can't write very much. I mean, I can write as long as I can, you know, not write in cursive, because I can't do that. But I can print okay. But writing just bores the poop out of me. It really does. I can do my journal, but I don't want to write a book. So I told my kids, if you want a book, take these videos, have AI transcribe them and put them into book form and edit them out. You'll be fine. That'll give you something to do someday when you're old and I'm gone. So I don't write a book. I tell my stories on video. And you might wonder, what do I do with them? Well, I started a YouTube channel. It's kind of a what's that called when you store something? Depository, repository. It's a place where I store my recorded stories for now. And I also have them on hard drives and stuff too. But it inspires me to keep going, like this half-eaten donut. Hey, here's another thing I do. Number 2, telling a story is like giving the gift of yourself. It's like you're sharing yourself, and you're entertaining and encouraging and hopefully educating at the same time. Hopefully not shaming. Try not to shame. Um, but I want to do that for my kids and grandkids. And a lot of you folks might say, oh, that's a good thing, but what if they don't care? Well, they probably don't care right now. I know when I was in my 20s or teens or even younger, daily life of grandma and grandpa didn't really interest me, because I didn't have the life experience to understand what they were doing or know what they felt. But at my age now, here at 66, I look backwards and I think, I wonder what grandpa felt like at 30 when he first discovered this and that. But I don't know. They didn't write. They didn't have this ability to leave videos and record, but we do. We do. So especially senior folks like me, and maybe some of you watching, take advantage of this technology we have and use it because it's cheap. And give the gift of yourself to your kids and your grandkids, even if they don't care. Hey, number 3, not just a gift of myself. I want to give them the gift of story. See, the younger generations, they don't get a lot of story today. The social media is kind of skewed that. So storytelling now is people try to do it visually, or it's made up. I don't know how much of it. Man, that donut sure looks tasty. Anyway, I want them to understand the value of story, to have a desire to tell their own stories and come up with their own stories. My oldest daughter, one time, probably about 6, 7 years ago, I remember her telling me, Dad, I want my boys to be able to tell their own stories and not someone else's stories, which means she wanted them to have a life that would have stories in it, that things would happen to them. They would have stories to tell. And I guarantee they do that. I know, because I lived with them for several years in Alaska. A lot of their friends don't even believe the stories they tell them now. Another thing I want to do, number 4, I want to rediscover and reaffirm my own identity as a retiree, as I am now. You see, when I retired, I didn't want to retire, but I kind of had to, financially and medically and stuff. But I want to rediscover my identity. And as I tell my stories, as I mine these stories out of my head and go over them and put them into context in my life, I realize I'm a very blessed man, even though I've had 34 jobs in 40 years, which also makes for really good stories. But that reminds me, I want to find out who I am. There was this kid, I was a substitute teacher in Alaska. This was several years back, and it was at a high school. And I was in this classroom with about 12 guys that were, well, it's high school, they were probably in their 20s, special needs guys. And our job was we would deliver newspapers around this giant high school campus in the morning, and we'd stop at the bathroom before we went back to class. Well, this day a new kid came, his name was Ben. Now the teacher told me Ben's a runner, so I had to keep an eye on him at all times and not let him out of my sight. So I thought, well, I'll take that seriously. So we go to the bathroom. Ben has these brand new boots on, laced up to his calves, you know, that the teacher was upset because usually they took his shoes off of him to keep him from running away. Well, he goes into the stall and everyone else comes out and they go back to the classroom, which I could see from where I was at. It was way at the end of the hallway. So I'm outside and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. And I finally go in and I go, Ben, we need to go back to class. You need to come out. And he goes, I'm not coming out. I go, what's the matter? He goes, who are you? I don't know who you are. You see, that was his first day with me, and I'd only been around him for about an hour. He didn't know me. And I looked under the stall, and there's what boots were with his pants pulled down around his ankles, and he's sitting there. I thought, okay, well, we got to go back to the classroom. You know how to get there. Who are you? I don't know who you are, is all he would say. Okay. So I waited and I waited. And I didn't know what to do. I can't leave this kid here and go to the classroom and try to find help. So after about 5 minutes of sitting there, I think this guy's legs have got to be numb by now and butt's falling asleep. So I went across the hallway and finally convinced the librarian that I was a substitute and had no idea what I was doing. And could you please call the classroom and have someone come down and help me get Ben out of the stall? Well, they finally sit a kid down who convinced Ben that I was Mr. Dan, the teacher, and he could come out. But that's always stuck with me, that statement of, who are you? I don't know who you are, especially coming through the door of a bathroom stall. But sometimes I ask myself that question. The story helps to answer that, because I'm kind of a new person. I have this ADHD thing, and when I look backwards, I need to realize, oh, I'm different than what I thought I was. See, I used to think everyone else was crazy and I was normal because I didn't know any better. Okay, number 5. I am learning to see my world through the lens of story, which is really fun because now I can sit at the dinner table and my granddaughters, which are young, they're like 6 and 8 right now, will start fighting with each other. And instead of feeling like I have to be the disciplinarian, I just kind of pull back and watch it like I'm watching a sitcom on TV, and it's actually pretty entertaining. And I found that to be rather relaxing because now I find myself not judging people as quickly as I used to. Of course, I used to because I thought I was normal and everyone else was weird. And now I know that I'm weird and everyone else is normal. So it's easy to just kind of sit back and watch the world through story and see things unfold and wait for them to unfold. And coffee's precious and I'm spilling it all over. But I'm learning to see my world that way. And I hope that my children and grandchildren, by watching and listening to these stories, will start to see their world through story too. Hey, I've gone a long time. I'm going to eat my donut and drink my coffee, and we'll come back and do more story stuff next time. All right? Hey, stop recording.